This is a twin needle. It lets you run 2 lines of parallel stitching, whether you're using a straight, zigzag, or decorative stitch. This film will show you how to set one up on a domestic machine and cover some tips for using it. To get started, install the needle into your needle arm. If you're unsure on how to do this, reference your machine's manual, but most domestic machines use a needle clamp like this. To thread the machine, take 2 spools of thread or wind some extra bobbins, depending on what you have to hand, and place them on the spool pins. I only have 1 on this machine, but that won't stop me using the twin needle. If they'll fit, you can put 2 on the 1 pin. Make sure they unwind in opposite directions so that the thread is less likely to tangle. With my horizontal pin, I found they still wanted to tangle, so I'll place my second bobbin on the bobbin winder. This works for a spool too, sort of. Regardless, as long as the 2 threads enter the first guide without tangling, this will work. Taking both threads, you thread the machine as normal, up to the second last guide. To help keep the threads from tangling at the needle, I take 1 thread and put it through the guide on the needle arm and use this to thread the left needle. Then, thread the right needle without using the last guide. Your bobbin should be threaded as normal. Draw all 3 threads through the presser foot and you are ready to sew. Sewing with a straight stitch should work fine. The thing to pay attention to is the opening in the presser foot. Before using a zigzag, decorative stitch, or your needle in an extreme position to the left or right, turn the hand wheel to make sure it clears the opening at all points in the stitch. If your top thread is snapping, troubleshoot by reducing the tension, making sure the threads can pull through freely and that the needle is fully seated in the holder. A straight stitch comes out of the machine with 2 parallel stitches on top and a zigzag below. Different stitches will do the same, where the top will look as expected and the underside will be, well, more complicated. The twin needle is really useful for top stitching pressed open seams, adding a twin stitch to a hem, or creating decorative patterns. So make sure a twin needle is in your sewing kit. Find more sewing content on the Unpicker, and if this was useful, why not subscribe?